Dream of the Red Chamber, Chapter 24.
So let's start right at the center of that emotional world with Lin Daiyu. The sources say she's embroiled in amorous thoughts, persistently knotted up. She is just drowning in her feelings.
And that right there is the biggest status marker in this whole book.
How so?
Well, think about it. You have to have incredible security, total stability, to be able to spend your entire day just thinking, analyzing your own feelings.
You're not worried about food or rent?
Not at all. Her main currency is emotion. And what pulls her out of this deep romantic angst?
Not a crisis, that's for sure. It's tea.
Right. Her maid comes to tell her that the powerful sister-in-law, Wang Shifeng, has sent over some new imperial tea.
Imperial tea, Shan Young Sincha. That detail says so much.
It's an instant status symbol. This isn't just any tea. It's a gift connected to the emperor, to the state. It dictates their whole reality.
And so Daiyu and another girl, Shangling, they just sit down. And they talk about embroidery, play chess, read a book.
It's the definition of a leisurely life.
It's almost like a curated boredom, you know? A lifestyle where tiny little things become your whole world because the big things are already taken care of.
That's a great way to put it. It's a protective shell. Their survival is guaranteed, so their pain has to come from somewhere else. It comes from overthinking.
Okay, so speaking of, let's call it self-inflicted chaos.
Yeah.
Let's move from Daiyu's quiet little world to the arrival of Baoyu. He is the emotional center of this whole novel, and he just loves pushing boundaries.
Oh, he lives outside the rules. And this next scene is a perfect example. It creates so much tension for the women around him.
So he's fetched by his main maid, Jiren, and he finds Yuan Yang, who is grandmother Jia's top maid, just resting and looking at Jiren's sewing.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
The source gives us this really vivid description of what Yuan Yang is wearing. A water-red silk jacket, blue satin vest.
And Baoyu, while he's waiting for his boots, just walks right up to her.
He smells her hair, which is oiled, and then says her skin's white creaminess was no less than Jiren's.
And that comparison, I mean, wow. He's taken the two highest-ranking female servants in the whole place and just comparing their bodies.
Like they're his possessions?
In a way, yeah. In his mind, his affection lets him just ignore the whole social structure.
The text says he acts like twisted taffy, just clinging to her. And then he asks her to award me the rouge from your lips for me to eat.
It's so intimate and so bold. Coming from a master, that's not really a request, is it?
It puts her in a terrible spot.
It's a total power play. But Yuan Yang is smart. She's grandmother Jia's favorite, so she has her own power. She just calls out to Jiren.
Like, are you seeing this? Get your boy.
Exactly. Why don't you stop him? And Jiren's reply is so pragmatic. She says, basically nothing I say helps.
But she warns Baoyu. She tells him his behavior makes things difficult. That's the word she uses, non-Zuli.
She knows this isn't just a game. A scandal could damage all of them. They might be high-status servants, but they're still completely vulnerable.
But isn't Baoyu kind of, I don't know, using up his social credit here? He's annoying the very people who run his life and protect him?
That's the core tension, isn't it? He's allowed to do this because his grandmother adores him. He's shielded. But you're right, he's testing those boundaries, and the women are constantly having to manage him. They tolerate the twisted taffy because they have to.
It's easy to get lost in all that, the silks and the tea and the drama. But we need to zoom out.
Way out. Because not everyone in the Jia clan is living this life. We're about to fall down a few rungs on the social ladder.
This is where we meet Jia Yun.
And Jia Yun is the perfect example of the desperate relative just hanging on by a thread.
Baoyu is heading out, and he runs into this young man, Jia Yun. And the first thing we learn is Baoyu has no idea who he is.
Which tells you everything you need to know about Jia Yun's place in the family.
Total nobody. Baoyu just notes that he's handsome, gentle, and refined, and someone else has to explain he's a distant cousin from down the back corridor.
So this is Jia Yun's one shot. He sees Baoyu, the golden boy, and he has to network. It's either that or starve.
And the flattery he uses is just, it's a performance.
Total political theater.
Baoyu makes this joke, saying Jia Yun looks young enough to be his son, even though Jia Yun is actually older.
And Jia Yun doesn't miss a beat. He jumps right on it. He quotes that proverb, grandfather in the cradle, grandson with a walking stick.
What does that mean exactly?
It means status is more important than age. He's basically saying, you're so important, I'm happy to call myself your son if it gets me in your good graces.
He's lowering himself to get ahead.
Completely.
Yeah.
He flat out says that since his dad died, being recognized by Baoyu would be his good fortune.
He's not asking for friendship. He needs a job. This is a business transaction wrapped in pretty language.
But Bayou, in his typically privileged, detached way,
Mm.
doesn't really get that. He responds warmly.
But he misses the point.
Totally. He says, yeah, come find me sometime. We'll hang out in the garden. We'll, talk about the heavens.
He offers conversation and a walk in the garden.
When what Jia Yun needs is a contract to plant the trees in the garden, the gap between what they each want from this conversation is just immense.
And the scene right after this just hammers that point home. We follow Bayou on his little trip.
His pampered duties, yeah.
He visits another relative, Lady Xing, and she just fawns over him, pulls him onto the couch, just caressing and fondling him in every way.
While scolding other kids for being dirty.
Right. And she promises him a fun thing to take home. He just gets endless affection and gifts for what? Just for existing.
Pretty much. Now hold that image in your head.
Okay.
And compare it to what happens next with Jia Yin. He goes back to his other cousin, Jia Lian, hoping to get that gardening job.
And he's immediately shut down.
Stonewalled. Jia Lian says, sorry, that last job went to someone else because your Aunt Wang Shifeng again put in a good word for him.
So Jia Yun's flattery of Bayou got him
Well,
nothing.
nothing concrete. He's told to wait for the next project. And he has to be careful, telling Jia Lian not to even mention his name to the powerful aunt yet. He knows he can't look too desperate.
So with no job on the horizon, he has an immediate cash problem. And this is where the story just is. It pulls the rug out from under you.
It really does. He's forced to go to his own maternal uncle, Bu Sharon, who owns a spice shop.
And he's reduced to begging. He's trying to buy a tiny amount of musk and Bornilon credit. 4 ounces.
It's a pittance, really. He promises to pay it all back in a few months. It's probably for some scheme to make a little money.
And his own uncle's reaction is just shockingly cold.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Sharon just flatly refuses. He says he has a contract with his business partners not to give credit to relatives because they've been burned before.
And he says the penalty for breaking that rule is a 20-tael fine.
20 taels is a huge amount of money. So that fear, the fear of the fine, is stronger than any family obligation.
And he even questions if Jia Yun has any proper business and tells him to go suck up to the Jia family managers instead.
A complete and total rejection. And just when you think the humiliation is over,
The twist.
the twist. Bu Sharon and his wife start arguing right there in front of Jia Yun, and she reveals their own situation.
They're not some rich, ruthless businessmen.
Not even close. They're barely hanging on themselves. She says they only bought half a caddy of flour for dinner.
And that they need to borrow 20 or 30 coins from a neighbor just to make a proper meal. Jia Yun, and he's basically at rock bottom.
He is. He's trying to get some money, trying to get back in the family's good graces, but the people who should be helping him, his own family.
They've just totally shut him down, so he's walking home just completely preoccupied and frustrated. So he needs cash and he needs influence. His uncle Bu Sharon gave him neither. And he's just stewing on this, head down, not paying attention.
And then, bam, he literally runs into someone. The whole story just pivots on that one accident.
And the guy he runs into, this Ni-er, drunken Hercules, they call him, he is the exact opposite of the kind of respectable person Jia Yun wants to impress.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you were to map out this society, Ni-er is way out on the fringes. The text calls him a palupi, a local rogue.
His power doesn't come from status.
No, it comes from being outside the rules. His whole business is high-interest loans, Zhang Lizai gambling, and just, fighting and drinking.
So he's drunk, he's just collected some payments, and Jia Yun bumps into him. His first reaction is just aggression.
He's ready to fight, yelling, "Blind, you bumped into me." But Jia Yun, and this is his first smart move, he recognizes him and just calms everything down.
And then, maybe because he's just so desperate, he tells Ni-er what happened with his uncle.
And this is where it gets fascinating. Ni-er's reaction is just explosive, but it's not aimed at Jia Yun.
No, it's all directed at the uncle. He gets furious for Jia Yun.
It's this kind of, street justice.
Mm-hmm.
He's enraged that a neighbor, someone from his community, got wronged by this so-called respectable family member.
He promises to make the uncle's family disperse and people depart. It's this incredibly intense loyalty to the neighborhood over the family.
That's the core of it. The formal system, his uncle, offered him nothing. This guy, this rogue from the margins, offers instant, if maybe a little scary, support.
And then comes the money.
The paradox just gets deeper. Ni-er says he has silver and offers it to him, but he offers it interest-free.
Without a contract either, a wenyu.
Which is completely against his entire business model. A high-interest lender giving a free loan.
So hold on, why? Why would he do that? Is he trying to own Jia Yun in a different way, like a social debt instead of a financial one?
That is the absolute key. He actually challenges Jia Yun on it. He asks him, are you scared of me because I'm a rogue, or are you scared of the high interest?
Yeah.
And then he says, and this is the crucial line, that if he charges interest, it's not Jiangyu Jiaoji. It's not true friendship. It's just business.
Wow, so by not charging interest, he's elevating the transaction.
He is. He's turning it into an act of righteous chivalry, or yexia. He wants to be seen as a moral person, just for a moment, despite his reputation.
He's using money to buy honor.
Exactly. It's the most valuable thing he could buy. And Jia Yun gets it instantly. He knows that refusing the money now would be a massive insult.
Right, it would be more dangerous than just taking a loan. So he accepts, thinking he'll pay it back double later to honor this moral debt.
And the whole thing is so chaotic. Meteor's impatient. He just pulls out the silver.
And it's a very specific amount. 15 taels, 3 keen, and some change.
Yes. Later we find out it's 15 taels, 3 keen, 4 fen, and 2 lines. That precision, coming from this drunken brawler, it shows he's serious. There's an odd integrity to it.
It's real, and then he's just gone.
As fast as he appeared, he refuses to come in, says to tell his family to find him at Wang Shortleg, the horse dealer's place, and just disappears back into the night.
Incredible. So this entire strategic plan Jia Yun is about to launch is funded by a rogue's silver.
It completely liberates him. The next morning, he counts the money, sees it's the exact amount Nair said, and his appreciation for him just skyrockets.
The money might have a dangerous source, but it's good money. He's not a beggar anymore.
He's an investor.
And his first investment is in influence. He goes shopping.
He does. He goes straight to a big incense shop and buys a luxury good. Bing, Shiice, Musk, and Borneol. A very high-end, very strategic purchase.
Because he knows his target. The most powerful person he can get to, Huang Shifeng, Fengji.
The manager of the whole estate. And he knows her weakness. The text says she is fond of flattery and values status, Sheng Paichang.
You can't just go to her asking for a handout. You have to play the game. You have to respect her position.
And his approach is just perfect. It's a psychological play. He finds her when she's busy coming from a meeting with the grandmother. The timing is perfect for a quick, impactful chat.
And the flattery he uses is so specific. He doesn't just say she's beautiful or smart.
No, he praises her effectiveness, her resilience. He says something like, your body is naturally fragile, but you manage everything so perfectly, anyone else would be exhausted.
Which is so much more powerful.
It is, because he's validating her sacrifice. He sees how hard her job is, how much stress she's under. He's showing that he gets it. He's not just another person asking for something.
And then he presents the gift. But even here, there are layers. He doesn't just hand it over.
No, he frames it perfectly. He says a friend, a magistrate no less, was moving away and gave him this expensive incense so it wouldn't be wasted.
That's brilliant. So, 1, it connects the gift to a high-status person, making it seem even more valuable.
And 2, it gives him a plausible story for how a broke kid like him got his hands on it. He's just the thoughtful middleman.
But the killer move is tying it to her current problems.
That's the masterstroke. He knows she's prepping for the Dragon Boat Festival, Duanyang. It's a massive job. She needs tons of spices. And with the Empress in the palace, the pressure is immense.
So he presents this luxury gift as a practical solution to her immediate logistical headache.
And he says only she is worthy of such high-grade material. It's just flawless.
And she loves it. The text says she's full of smiles. She takes the gift, tells her servant to handle it, and even praises him. Says his uncle speaks highly of him.
That's his opening. He jumps on it, asking if his uncle really mentioned him. He's trying to pivot to the job he wants.
And she actually has a job for him, supervising a planting project. But then she stops herself.
She does.
Why? I mean, she's happy, she has a need, he's proven himself to be clever. Why leave him hanging?
It all comes back to Pei Chan, to her status and authority. She can't give him the job right then and there.
Because it would look like he bought it with the incense.
Exactly. It would make her look weak, easily swayed. Her power depends on the idea that her decisions are her own, based on merit, not bribery.
Yeah.
She has to maintain that image, that distance.
So she's going to give him the job, but on her own timeline.
Absolutely. The gift got his foot in the door. It put him at the top of the list. But the wait is to make sure everyone knows who's in charge.
Wow. So even with a perfect play, he still has to leave empty-handed, at least for now.
The investment was a success, but the payout is still pending.
So he has to wait. Where does he go?
He goes to the Qishuanzai study to wait for Bao Yu. And this scene is just, it's a perfect contrast to the high-stakes, strategic games he was just playing.
After navigating the complex honor code of a rogue and the political minefield of the manor, he gets stalled by what?
Just total chaos. The study is a mess. The servants are goofing off. Pei Ming and Chu Yao are screaming at each other over a game of chess.
Fighting over a wooden chariot piece, right?
Literally. While others are outside trying to catch little birds on the roof, it's like a chaotic schoolyard.
The absurdity of it, all this wealth and power, and at the ground level, it's just entropy.
And Jio Yun, who just handled a crime boss and a master politician, has to stomp his foot and call these grown men monkeys to get some order.
It just shows you what he's up against. He's conquered the big challenges, and now he's stuck dealing with childish incompetence.
And the final little insult? He finds out Bao Yu isn't even there. Hasn't come down all day. So he's still stuck waiting. He's stuck behind the gates of Yi Hongyuan, just waiting.
And that waiting is so key. It's a deliberate tactic. The household uses it to test the resolve of anyone seeking a favor. But while he's there, just stewing in his frustration, an unlikely source gives him some critical, actionable intelligence.
A maid appears.
The maid appears, and the text describes her as delicate and clean, or Shiqiao Ganjing. She's young, maybe 16 or 17.
And this is where we see that first little flicker of a lateral connection. Jia Yun tries to send a message through Bayu's attendant, but this young maid, she intercepts him.
She does. She just stares him down and gives him what is, it's essentially a sharp professional assessment of the whole situation.
He tells him straight up, stop waiting.
Yep. Bayu's busy, he ate early, and he is not coming downstairs. Go home, come back tomorrow.
It's so blunt.
It is. She just dismisses him, but Jia Yun is completely disarmed. He's actually impressed by her brief and pretty way of speaking. The text calls it Jianbiankaoli.
Because she's giving him hard data, right?
Exactly. Up-to-the-minute status reports that Bayu's own official attendants either didn't know or just wouldn't share with an outsider like Jia Yun.
It shows this immediate, clear-eyed competence. And Jia Yun is smart enough to see it and pivot.
Instantly.
He changes his target. The next day, he realizes, okay, the ceremonial head, Bao Yu, is useless for actually getting things done.
He's the wrong guy.
So he goes straight for the real operational source of power, Benji, Wang Xifeng. He catches her just as she's heading out.
And Fengji, well, she never minces words, does she? She immediately challenges him.
Oh, yeah?
She laughs and suggests his previous little gifts were nothing but a trick, Nangyi. And crucially, she lets him know that she knows he already failed to get the job by going through his uncle first.
Wow. So she's testing his honesty and his resolve right from the jump.
Totally.
But this confrontation, this is what shows Jia Yun's strategic mind. He doesn't panic.
No.
He performs a perfect reversal. He immediately apologizes, expresses regret for taking the long road, the Jianyuan Lurzhu, through his uncle.
And he admits his uncle couldn't manage it, Jing Brunongde.
He flatters her. He says he should have just asked her in the first place.
He's basically telling the real manager that he mistook where the true power and capability really were, that she's the only one who can actually deliver. He sees she's the administrative bottleneck of the entire estate.
And it works. Despite her, her feigned reluctance, because she always has to look busy, she agrees really quickly.
Well, it turns out she genuinely needed someone for the job he wanted, planting flowers and trees in the garden.
But she tries this clever little delay tactic.
She does. She suggests he wait for the big item, the Dazonger, which is the New Year's fireworks and lanterns contract next January.
And you have to ask, right, is she testing him? Or is she maybe trying to squeeze him for a bigger commission down the line?
I think it's both. It's a power move. It's designed to see if he's hungry enough for the small job now.
And Jia Yun, he passes the test. He argues for the current job first. He promises that if he handles this immediate task well, he can take the big one later.
Which is such a great immediate demonstration of his competence and his hunger for responsibility.
It's so efficient. This rapid negotiation is such a stark contrast to the slow, meandering way the nobles he tried to approach first make decisions.
Absolutely. So she agrees. She tells him to come back at noon to collect the silver voucher.
Okay, let's follow the money now, because this section, I think, really defines Jia Yun's character. He gets the tally, the Dewey, that's the official approval, and the voucher.
And the sum is 200 taels.
200 taels of silver.
Yeah, and you really need to pause there and understand the magnitude of that. 200 taels is not pocket change. It represents serious financial stability.
What's the modern equivalent, roughly?
Well, for context, that would easily be a highly skilled artisan's income for a full year, maybe more, or enough to finance a small business. It is the critical foundation Jia Yun needs to reestablish himself.
So what does he do with this life-changing sum of money? Does he go out and celebrate, spend it on luxuries like all the other Jia cousins?
Absolutely not. The source is very specific about his immediate, almost frantic follow-through. The very next day, before dawn, the text says wu gu, which means he acted almost instantly.
Right away.
He finds his creditor, a guy named Ni-er, and pays back the full debt he owed. Then, immediately, he spends 50 taels to buy the trees he needs from an artisan, Feng Chun.
That is such a profound character statement. This isn't just about moving the plot forward.
No.
This is Jia Yun immediately proving he is a reliable player. By clearing his debt and starting the work before sunrise, he's showing fiscal responsibility and agency.
Qualities that are almost totally absent among the noble Jia family members he's trying to get in with. He proves he's worthy of the investment Fengji just made in him.
Precisely. His success is driven by discipline and knowing exactly where the real power is. So Jia Yun has secured his future externally. Now let's go back inside the walls of Yihong Yuan, where the internal power structure is about to get, well, thrown into chaos.
Yeah.
We're back at Baiyu's residence, a place that should be running like a Swiss watch. I mean, with the sheer number of servants.
It should be.
But the text details this moment of massive, almost improbable domestic disarray. Baiyu gets back from a trip to Prince Beijing's residence and, characteristically forgets he promised to see Jia Yun.
Of course he does.
He wants tea, but all his key, high-ranking maids, his gatekeepers, are conveniently absent.
It is the ultimate low-density organizational moment. I mean, his top 5 most senior maids are all gone. They're sick. They're running errands for the matriarchs, visiting relatives.
Whatever, they're not there.
And this vacancy, which is created by the noble master's negligence and the temporary distraction of his key staff, this is the crucial opening. It allows agency to bubble up from the bottom.
Baiyu is calling for tea, and only the old nannies walk in, and he immediately dismisses them. They're too slow, too clumsy. The whole hierarchy is collapsing under the weight of his own simple need.
And then suddenly,
The very same maid who intercepted Jia Yun the day before just materializes from the back door.
And she doesn't wait to be asked. She takes the bowl and she gives him this protective warning not to scald his hands as she pours the tea.
And Baiyu finally registers her existence. He looks at her closely, dressed in half-new, half-old clothes, but with this beautiful, neat black hair. She's slender, very pretty and clean, and he's forced to admit he doesn't recognize her.
And her response is just a perfect piece of dialogue. It's laced with so much deep suppressed frustration.
It really is.
She hits him with this pointed sarcasm. She says, "There are many you don't recognize." And then she explains it's because she never gets assigned the visible tasks.
The glamour jobs.
The glamour jobs. Serving tea, carrying items, the dicha, di shui, nadong nahi. These are the tasks that let a servant get on the master's radar and actually climb the ladder.
She is seizing her agency right there.
100%. She is voicing the pain of every low-tier worker stuck doing essential but invisible labor.
And to prove her worth, to prove she deserves this recognition, she immediately tells him she was the one who spoke to Jia Yun yesterday.
Right. She's demonstrating that even while being physically invisible to Baiyu, she's been actively managing his external relations, providing vital communication support.
She's been waiting, watching, and now she's proving her value in this tiny little window of opportunity.
But seizing a visible moment in a hyper-competitive hierarchy, that always invites immediate retaliation.
Yeah.
And that's where the backlash hits. Hard.
Almost immediately after this small victory, the system just corrects itself.
Yes. 2 of the senior maids, Qi Wen and Bi Hen, they come back, and their return is so messy, they're laughing and arguing, carrying this sloshing bucket of water, complaining about damp skirts and ruined shoes.
And they are just astonished to see this low-ranking maid, Xiao Hong, rush out to receive the water.
The scene just perfectly captures the difference, doesn't it? You have the established staff who are careless and loud, and then the overlooked maid who is sharp and proactive.
So when they find Xiao Hong alone later, they demand an explanation. What were you doing in Baiyu's inner chambers?
In Xiao Hong, she tries to save face. She claims she was just looking for a lost handkerchief, a shupazi, and only poured the tea because no one else was there.
But the senior maids, they're veteran gatekeepers. They see right through the maneuver.
Instantly, and the reaction is just brutal. Qiu Wen spits in Xiao Hong's face. She calls her a shameless, vulgar thing, Mei Lian the Xie Dong.
This is more than just personal rivalry. This is a declaration of war against an upstart.
It is a defense of established turf, and the accusation is very specific. She's accused of inventing an excuse, a yushigu, to avoid the hard, messy job of fetching water so she could seize the easy opportunity that Qiao Zonger to get close to Bao Yu.
And they threaten her. They say they're going to make her do all the desirable, visible tasks from now on, but purely out of spite. They just want her crushed for daring to break the hierarchy.
The physical and verbal bullying, it must have just devastated her spirit. Before she can sink into despair, a crucial piece of news arrives, and it links her directly to the external success story we just analyzed.
The connection point.
The vital connection point. A nanny interrupts the whole argument with a message from Fengji about the tree planting job.
And the nanny mentions the supervisor.
She mentions the supervisor for the job is Brother Yun of the back hallway, or Hulangsheng de Yingir. And Xiao Hong immediately realizes
The man she impressed.
the man she impressed with her sharp, honest advice is now the successful job winner, empowered by Fengji herself.
And that link, it has to make her own marginalization feel less permanent. But let's talk about her suppressed identity, Lin Hongyu, because this gives us some real insight into her intense desire to climb higher.
Absolutely. Her real name is Lin Hongyu, but the Yu in her name, which means jade, was removed or suppressed in the household.
Why?
Because it matched the names of noble family members, specifically Lin Daiyu and Bao Yu. It's a naming taboo.
Wow.
It's a subtle but really potent sign of her status. She is physically beautiful. The text says she has 3 parts of good looks, San Fen Rong Mao, and she's intelligent, but her very name threatens the house, forcing her into invisibility.
So she's blocked not by a lack of ability, but by this rigid competitive social structure. And it's enforced by these sharp-tongued and quick-witted, the Lingya Li Zhao De senior maids.
Exactly. And the success of Jia Yun, another marginalized figure, revives her spirits at the exact moment the inner circle has tried to crush her.
It creates a sense of shared experience, maybe.
I think so. The nobility doesn't recognize or reward their talent, but perhaps another outsider will. And this leads us right to the entangling threads that close the chapter.
Xiao Hong is brooding after that humiliation when Jia Yun appears softly outside her window. And he doesn't use her low-ranking servant name, Xiao Hong. He calls her by her full personal forbidden name, Hong Yu.
That is the ultimate acknowledgement of her value and her ambition. It's a sign of a shared strategic understanding between them.
And he claims he's found her lost handkerchief, the very item she used as a clumsy excuse to cover her bold move in Bayu's room.
So this tiny forgotten piece of cloth now becomes the physical link between 2 highly dynamic individuals who are succeeding or trying to succeed at the margins.
And when she asks where he found it, the tension just peaks. He tries to pull her closer to tell her.
And she tries to run but trips over the threshold, leaving the whole narrative on a classic cliffhanger.